Hi guys, we just wanted to give you a little heads up and a disclaimer alert. We know that the Q&A with Maddy Hill has a few technical sound issues. However, we love the chat. I didn't want to re-record it. Maddy is awesome and you can definitely hear what she's saying. There's just a little bit crackly here and there. So we just wanted to say sorry for that, but we thought it was important to get the Q&A out anyway, because I think you'll get a lot from it. Enjoy. Hello to our gorgeous IAMPRO community. I'm Charlie Brooks and I am bringing you this month's Q&A, and it is with, I'd say, one of my favourite human beings. Her name is Maddy Hill and I have had the absolute pleasure of working with her up close and personal, and she's a total delight. So I'm going to bring her in. Without further ado, Maddy Hill. Woo!
Oh, that was such a lovely thing to say, Chazzer.
Oh, I just mean it. You know, we've had the pleasure of working together for the last year and a half, and it's broke my heart that it's all sort of come to an end. And as well as sort of acting, it's more than that. It goes beyond that. All the talks and chats that we've had about life, about bodies, about mental health, that stuff I know is really important to you, and you know, it fires me up. So I thank you for that, because it's brilliant.
I thank you too. And also just the amount of times we were interrupted at work having to film something.
No,
I was having a really important conversation. Unacceptable.
Really, I know they used to say us all the time. We had to do that acting.
Yeah. Excuse me, we're just working out the meaning of life. So if you could just not film us, thank you.
Maddy, can I ask you to maybe take your headphones off and use the thing, just because it's crackling when we talk?
Tell me. So you just come out of here?
Yeah, just because every
fine.
time it's crackly. Okay, I think that's better.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. It's a tiny bit crackly, but that's fine. So why, and we are going to talk about all of that juicy stuff. We'll give a little hint of some of the conversations that we might have had behind the set of the Queen Vic. But before that, I want to know, why acting? This is how I start my interviews with all of my lovely actors.
Oh, God. Probably because I didn't get the attention I needed as a child, and I'm an innate attention seeker. Why else?
Great honesty. I love it.
I guess probably there's something there that attracts you to it. I tell you what, it was actually lockdown that really made me go, for the first time, stop like everyone else did and go, wait, why do I do this? Because you do just find yourself just sort of, you know, step after step in life, not really paying attention as to why you're going in the direction that you're going. And at that, you know, major deficit of human interaction, and especially that major deficit of work for actors during lockdown, really made me go, wait a minute, why do I do this? And I was like, because it's intravenous human connection, and I survive to connect emotionally with people, absolutely. And you could come onto a set for a day and meet new people, or, you know, rehearse a play or whatever, meet people that you've never met before, and within 2 days you feel like overtly connected to them. It's like you go straight, there's none of this, you go straight here. Very few actors can do small talk. I think a lot of actors are really sort of averse to it. And if you find that really difficult, they're just, you know, constant safe spaces in which to actually weirdly be yourself, which is very antithetical to acting, isn't it? To putting on another character. But actually, in order to get good at that, you have to get really good at understanding yourself. And so you have a lot of the conversations like me and you had, and you get very close to people very quickly. Yeah. And I think I realised when that was taken away from us during lockdown, that that's what it is. Connecting with human beings.
Yeah. What a beautiful answer. I wasn't aware that, I mean, I hate small talk. I can't do it. It makes me want to explode. And I don't know if I've ever connected that to being an actor, and that is something that potentially actors have in common, but it's probably quite true, because
I don't think any of them do it.
Speak very quickly.
No, it's like an unwritten rule, isn't it? It's a language that you meet an actor and you don't have to do that. You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a, you know, that these people have, you know, bared so much of themselves to other people that they're not afraid to go there. And so you don't have to do that sort of thing where you're sort of, you know, just pretending everything's okay and avoiding talk. I do think there's a place for small talk, and I would like to get better at it.
Yeah, me too.
There are certain people that I really want to connect with that really can only exist there, and they're perfectly interesting people, and they're like people in my family. And yet I need to work out what that language is, a way of, you know, staying in that realm without feeling like I'm speaking another language, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, I have the similar feelings, actually. Yeah, it's fascinating, because I don't know whether it comes with age, actually, our ability, because for me, I think it has. For me, the older I've gotten, the more I've got to know myself, and given up booze and all that sort of thing, that has allowed me to go in and understand myself on a different level that I never have before. And I don't think I had that when I was younger. I wish that I did, but I think that's why I love being 40 so much now, because I'm like, I'm owning all of my own shit, and I'm able to talk about how I feel and use that. You know, it's so useful for me as an actress, because I've learned to be unafraid of it, and unafraid of that vulnerability. You spoke about Brené Brown, and obviously she's the queen of vulnerability and the power it has. I think it's an absolute superpower. Is it something that you got younger?
Absolutely not. No. Right. I mean, it's been like for me, there weren't any real, it's been a very slow process. I'm having this thing now where things that we were learning at drama school, pennies are dropping now.
Right.
And they're not absolutely, I think everything that all the practices that I've done in order to keep myself sane over the last 10 or so years have also happened to be, no shit, things that make you a better actor. So they feed each other, and they make you a better partner, make you a better sibling, make you a better daughter, whatever else. It's all, you know, getting comfortable with being vulnerable is that's it, really, isn't it? But I don't, no, absolutely not. I think, during and after drama school, I was so guarded and had so many guises in so many ways. I wasn't very gentle with myself at all. I was very, very anti-vulnerability. And yet that's what we were being taught. That is kind of what you're being taught for 3 years at drama school, is how to be vulnerable. I didn't quite get that that's what it was. It's hard, you know, we're throughout the, you know, our sort of archaic schooling system teaches you all of these, and our society teaches you, you know, how to use all of these guards and barriers in order to get through life and tick box your way through school. And then suddenly, for the first time, you get to drama school and you're asked to dismantle those things. It doesn't even compute, because you've never even heard it before. So it takes 10 years of learning that through, you know, various different practices. I have so many different ways of reminding myself to do that every day, to sort of question a systemic belief that I've been brought up in my entire life, and everyone has in the West, in London.
Can I ask you if you see me going down like this, by the way, it's because I'm scribbling, because you say loads of things and I have to remember the points. Okay. What are the practices that you have?
We were taught yoga in a very, like, hilariously. I remember the teacher actually drawing the postures on a whiteboard, and it being very much like, this is how you do yoga, when we were like 18. So we were introduced to yoga, and we were doing it twice a week, I think, at drama school for 3 years. And And it was, even then, my introduction to yoga felt very like, okay, this hurts because I haven't done this before and I just need to get it right. You know, it still felt like that. But something within me when I left, so it didn't feel like a particularly relaxing thing. I loved, you know, sort of body scans and stuff like that. We'd always fall asleep. We'd always fall asleep as a whole class because we were so tired. And something in me, even after the 3 years of not feeling particularly, I mean, I was, you know, fairly flexible naturally and strong. So I wasn't the worst at it. But even though I didn't really take to it, something in my brain was like, you should keep doing that, even though it's difficult, even though there's real resistance to it. And I just found myself going to yoga once or twice a week, still finding it really difficult, still finding myself being really competitive, measuring myself up against all the other people in the class, thinking I was doing it wrong the whole time, thinking I need to be getting better, stronger, more flexible, whatever. And somehow I just kept doing it. I kept, you know, it was something that just stayed with me and I kept doing. So I've had a regular yoga practice since I was 18. What's that, like 14 years? That's pretty in depth, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to have a regular practice for 14 years and I just can't get consistency because of all of those reasons that you said. I get in my own way.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know how that stopped. I think there was just something where I was like, I kind of knew that turning up was the most important thing. And that something in the back of my head, I kind of knew that turning up would eventually lead me to a place where those things started to disintegrate. Maybe I could feel them starting to disintegrate. I could feel myself measuring myself up against people less. But also I do believe that the yogic culture in this city, for sure, is very elitist. The classes are really expensive. You look around you, everyone is a skinny white woman in their, you know, 20s, early 20s, and it's hard not to compare yourself to a room of people that all look the same, all look vaguely like me. So actually, the more I step back from those kinds of classes like rocket yoga and yoga for exercise, and the more I was going to classes that centered around meditation or yin or relaxation, slower stuff, hatha yoga, the more I felt actually, oh no, this isn't a competitive environment.
Yeah.
But I think as much as you come with an intention not to compete, if that's the energy in the room, it's really hard not to feel yourself getting tugged along by that.
Yeah.
I think I naturally started to veer myself towards those kinds of classes, and now I actually don't really go to live classes. I either do like YouTube videos or I practice on my own, but I've never really developed a self-practice. But that's kind of, I think the yoga just started. It's one of the things I feel most proud of. I'm so glad I kept doing that thing because it serves me. And if you can find an angle on it like that where it doesn't feel like you're competing with anyone else, you know, and you can just use it to go within, because that's what it's for. Go within, but use the energy of a room of people that have all come there with the same intention to go within, which makes it feel more communal and helps dissolve this like acute sense of self and competitiveness a little bit more. Then you know you're finding the right thing.
Interesting that we're talking about that in a yoga room. As an actress, do you have the same comparisons and competitiveness? And how do you manage that? I mean, probably with yoga and what you said is, you know, that in itself is a really good practice to not compare. But, you know, the rejections that we go through, how do you navigate your way through those things?
Still navigating constantly. I mean, I'm not I could probably do with being a bit more competitive, but I guess, you know, if you're comparing, then you are being competitive in a way. But I'm much better at going, oh, she's way more likely to do that better than me, or you know, what chance do I stand? I'm just lowly little me. I haven't got anything figured out. Much more likely to do that than like think I don't have a real sense of one-upmanship, like I have to get that. I do very much I've always had a sense of really enjoying other people doing well. Yeah. But I'm definitely very quick to find excuses, reasons for my not being good enough, not being up for the job, imposter syndrome, that sort of thing, for sure.
It's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really brutal, really brutal.
You spoke about being gentle with yourself. Gentle is my word of the year. I think we should all have word of the year.
I know. I want to get I wish you could get a tattoo that lasted a year.
Yes.
Because I might need something completely different. I guess you could just write it on every day. That's so funny. Yeah. It was my word of the year last year.
Really?
Yeah, it came up when I was journaling in the mornings and stuff, writing intentions. It always came up.
I had no idea how much I beat myself up. Oh my God, not felt good enough, all that stuff. And I'm slowly, as you know, because we've talked about all this stuff, letting go of that, you know, and that is magic. That is magic.
I was always giving you just a nice grab of the neck, a gentle pound to the temple. I want you to be more gentle with yourself.
We had a good fight. It was one of my favourite lines of my whole year and a half, when you went for me and Janine said, "Shall we dance?" And then you hit me to the ground and I went, "Oh!"
I genuinely, you making that noise, I could be like on a bus and I'll just think of how quickly you creased up when we laughed. That's so funny. It was so funny. You're very good at taking the piss out of yourself, Charlie Brooks.
Oh yeah,
wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful quality to have.
Thank you, babes. I want to talk more about life outside of EastEnders, but I'd also love to talk about your experience of drama school. How was it for you? Are you pleased that you went?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I wouldn't have. You know. So back then, tuition fees were, I think I was in the last year before it got bumped up to like $9,000 a year, and it was like $3,000 a year. No, that wasn't right, is it? $3,000 a term, $9,000 a year, yeah. And I remember like other mates that I had that were at uni that were having like 6 to 8 contact hours a week, you know, tuition, like lectures. They were like, "What about you?" I was like, "I'm knackered. We're doing like 30 to 40 hours contact hours a week. Like, that is insane value for money, honestly." And I'm back there now, so I'm sort of like, yeah, I'm back there. I've always had like a real fear of teaching groups. Yes. So I have a theatre company with the actors that I was closest with in our year at school, and we studied a practitioner called Sanford Meisner. That's who you study in at my drama school, Rose Bruford, in the first year. And when we left, we kept practicing Meisner technique every week for years. You know, we'd try and get every Monday for years. It was very much our therapy, and we're devising work with that at the heart of it at the moment. Had a full day R&D with them all yesterday, and it was so wonderful. I loved it. So I'm back there now with these students doing this Meisner work in the first year. Wow. And honestly, even if 90% of them decide to or don't become actors, the life skills that they're getting in learning how to recognize your own behavior, recognize behavior in other people, learn how to dismantle barriers and guards that we put up in order to protect ourselves, is, I think, invaluable. But then really, I only because of all the other work that I've been doing ever since, is it really starting to land for me. So I think you do need to, I think you have to be really careful at drama school, because it can bring up it can definitely bring up lots of old trauma, because you are opening yourself to that. But I think if you have the right people around you and you feel well supported, it can be the best thing that you ever experience.
Sounds incredible. And see, when I hear it spoke about like that and the people that you meet, and one of the things I love about you is the way you continue the work. Like just last week we were like, let's go to improvisation class, yay! Still haven't made that happen, but we will. Yes, is what I've got, I've just lost my train of thought, is hearing that experience where you can open yourself up and be in that safe space. And for me, I never had that. My space was a set, was EastEnders, actually, you know. I didn't know how safe it was. And so I think I did this a little bit because I hadn't had that freedom or chance to explore who I was as a 17, 18, 19-year-old girl.
But I think you can be doing, it's what you take. I'm sure there are just as many people who didn't take that from drama school, and just as many people who learn that on set. It's like that feeling of going, this is my family for the day, for the week, for the month, for whatever.
Yeah.
And finding a way of communication that means you feel brave enough to play and that you're going to be caught. And know, I guess, knowing when not and when to look. What does it all boil down to? It's all about what you cultivate in here, because this is portable. This is with you all the time. Guess what? Wherever you go, you're going to turn up there.
Yes,
100%, exactly. Guarantee. So I feel actually what probably the process that you've undergone since getting sober and finding a community that you feel held by and that you feel a spiritual connection with, that kind of cultivated your sense of self and your trust within yourself. And that's what you bring to set. And that's why you're playful, because you know you're going to be caught by your spiritual practice, by the community that do you see what I mean? There's something to go back to, there's something to anchor to.
Yeah.
So you can find that anywhere. You really can. And I don't, and at the moment I feel very much a part of like 3 different communities, and they're all really strong, and they're so necessary. Especially, do you remember doing your first play, like a school play or whatever, when you were a kid, and the post-show blues after were just like your heart being torn out. You were just like, now what? You know, this is the play. That if we're not working towards the play. And I did realize that I probably, what happened? I think there was like a point when I left drama school, I think I was like, realized there was this like sort of real, like, what am I looking for? Canyon. Because I hadn't not been either in a play or rehearsing a play since I was about 10. You know, I'd always been in the school play, and if I wasn't doing that, I was doing something outside, and I was doing something in the summer, and so this, like, I left drama school and was like, ugh, you know, so where's the work to hide myself in? I didn't realize that at the time, but
So when you finish a play, a long running play, always, I mean, there's a mourning process that you go through.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. I think actors should be taught that. And also, I was listening to Anne-Marie Duff being interviewed by Annie Mac. Annie Mac's podcast Changes is brilliant, and Anne-Marie Duff on there is really. She was talking about Bad Sisters.
Oh, it's so good.
She's a very, very clever woman, and she was saying that she has a process if she's going to be playing a character for a really long time, where she writes down things that are the character and things that are her, in order to really separate herself, so that there's like a total, you know, it's so easy to get caught up in it and start. I mean, I've brought stuff home so many times, found myself in like interactions with my partner or my mum and just been like, oh my God, I shot this scene last week. What am I doing? I'm literally I was like, I'm sorry. Do you see what I mean? It's so mad. It's like something that I started that was just residually in me from whatever work I'd done the week before. So I think actually it'd be great if actors did go out of their way to try and learn almost rituals to decompress from shows, characters, people, and just find a separation.
So interesting that you say that, because we've literally just done a drop-in class on IAMPRO about leaving a character behind. Amazing.
Well done.
I take Janine's coat off at the door, like lock her in my dressing room.
Yes, good, but it's like marking those things, isn't it? As opposed to and I've never been very good at that. I've never really thought. I just haven't even thought about it. You know, you're just so work becomes, especially on long running shows like EastEnders, work just becomes life. It's so easy to just be like, as you're getting changed, you're thinking about what you're about to buy in the supermarket and whatever. It's so not like a spiritual practice or a ritualistic thing. There's not much very spiritual about BBC Studios Elstree, is there? So I think
no, I found the upstairs balcony with you and James doing your yoga amidst puddles. That's quite a place.
We tried to bring a bit of a spiritual air to the place. But I think a lot of it could do with saging, you know. But I think that acting is an overtly spiritual practice. How is it not? Like taking on the emotional life of a different person and imagining that life. Of course it is. So I think it needs due diligence. The right thing to say.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's taken me by surprise on occasion before when I've, you know, been in something very serious or very heavy and I've thought I've left it at work, and then I can just find myself very sort of agitated throughout the night, and I now have an awareness where I go, holy shit balls, okay. Whew, I physically, because I can take on people's energies, even people that I'm around, you know. And if it's not a great energy and I feel uncomfortable, I physically have to remove myself and kind of just breathe it out. It's really mad. It's a really mad process. And sometimes I get that with the characters I play.
I think that's it as well. Like, because even if you're not playing that kind of a character, whatever your scene you're going into or whatever, you're absorbing that. You're superpower actor, and the thing that you spend all your time learning how to do is receive other people's emotions and is become a sponge to it. So the body doesn't know any different, you know. The body is just experiencing all of these emotions in real time. So that has a lasting residual effect, and it's as you say, is like long-term residual effect, and is really hard to just shake off. I think that for me, where I learned to, those days at work, and I was getting headaches, and it was all to do with the level of sort of pressure I was putting on myself, and the level of the difficult emotions that I was playing with. I would have to come home and do like sort of half an hour of yin in order to just completely change where my breath was in the body and encourage my muscles to relax, basically.
It just reminded me of something that you did on set that was so sweet, because basically every time Janine walks into a room, everyone else walks out, or everyone else like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, Maddy said to me, after every take, I'm just going to come and I'm going to give you a hug and tell you that you're loved, because of the exact conversation that you've just had, because it must sometimes go in on a cellular level, even though, like you say, you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
You know,
how are you not? You're doing it over and over and over again. And the people around you, they want to do their best job, and they want to buy into the character and give the most truthful performance that they possibly can. So they often get stuck in that role of hating Janine. So it's very important to make, I think, physical distinctions between, you know, me the character, me the actor, you the actor, you the character.
Mm.
Oh, I'm glad that resonated with you. I just felt, yeah, it felt really like, that's not how we feel about you at all. You need to know. You know what I mean?
Yes. I've never felt so loved, actually. The last 18
Oh.
months that I've had there have been so gorgeous.
Yeah. And
of course, you and, you know, certain other people are totally to thank for that. It's been amazing. God, time has just flown. This is what happens, you see. This is what happens. I just wanted to speak to you quickly, if I may, about a process, and if you have one, when you receive a script, and what that might look like for you.
I did a brilliant workshop once with a director who, she was an actor. I'll remember her name after, and you can, is there like their notes or something?
Yes, we'll be able to add that to it.
And it was like a one-off workshop when I was feeling a little bit sort of stagnant. I think I was auditioning a lot and nothing was really sticking. And she had this brilliant process of approaching a script where, especially if it's like an eagerly anticipated audition or something, and you know if something comes through and you're like, oh my God, I want that job so much, and there's so much of you there that could so easily go, I'm going to do whatever it takes to convince you that I want this job. I'm going to fit the mold. So you're making decisions already that are completely outside of your intuition. You're going, oh no, I don't sound like that. I did. So her approach was just, as soon as you get a script, sit down somewhere very quiet. And for me, this would probably involve doing like a body scan beforehand to make sure I was sort of in my body a little bit more, in my intuition a little bit more. And then reading in a whisper, without any, or in your head to begin with, or in a whisper, without any sort of attempts to characterize a script. Just reading by yourself out loud. And then even as a means to learning, just saying each word in a monosyllabic whisper, so that you, and adding one word at a time. So I've got a Kew Gardens magazine in front of me. It says The Vital World of the Grass Garden.
Very revealing that.
One word at a time. The vital world, the vital world of the vital world of the vital world of the grass, the vital world of the grass garden. And funnily enough, as you're adding each word, meaning starts to add itself to the script without you racing ahead.
So much sense. Yes, it does. Makes complete sense.
So you're taking it a word at a time, and meaning and instinct starts to very gradually, and you're fucking learning the lines at the same time.
Yeah.
Especially brilliant for isolated audition scenes, because you might not have anything outside of that scene. It's so often the case, you just get the scene, right?
Yeah.
And you barely have any context, and your instinct is to rush ahead and make loads of judgments and assumptions about what that is. Whereas if you're taking it a word at a time in a very quiet way, I'd say that's far more of a, you wouldn't want to do that with a whole script. But I think in terms of like, if you were learning an audition scene, that for me has been a really good approach. And I've done really well in castings where that's the way I'd come at it. And I always know how to come at it, when to come at it like that, is when I feel a real attachment to the job.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, pressure.
Yes, but it's almost like giving it that time, and space and repetition almost allows things to reveal themselves that weren't there. And for me, that is always, that's quite magic. And often I'll read a script, I'm on the 4th read and I'll go, oh my God, I didn't even see that. I didn't, that's changed the whole thing. You know, it's amazing, isn't it? It's just giving it that time and waiting for it and not panicking and go, oh, why don't I see it? What is it? Why, you know, it will come. It will come to you. And that comes again down to trusting the process, trusting your own process, trusting, you know, if the job is right for you, if it wants to reveal itself to you in the right way, because it might not be.
And if it doesn't feel right to you, if your brain is going, oh, I can't do this, I'm not quite right for this, just fuck it and just do what would be the most fun, or what would be, you know what I mean?
Be playful and be brave.
Yeah, if I was just gonna do this as me, I'm not gonna try and look, it's, you know, they're the characters written as 40, I'm not 40, I'm not gonna try and look 40. Just, it's like, if I'm gonna be the most me I possibly can for this, then, and try not even think, I think it's about trying not to think about getting the job. If you think of it as, how can I do my best with this in my world of this, then you don't know what other jobs it could lead to, or do you see what I mean?
Or it might offer them something that they hadn't anticipated or seen and gone, oh, actually, that's the direction we want to go in.
The secret reason, but I didn't want to reveal that. I could, like tricking yourself into things. It's the long game. It's the long game.
It is. It's the long game. So I could talk to you all day. I've got so many questions that I could ask you, but we are under time constraints, and I want to say thank you. I just think that was gorgeous. It's so nice for everybody else to get a little window inside the mind of Maddy Hill that I had the pleasure of opening every day for 18 months.
Hey, so, I think they're so lucky that they get you as their talking head. You're a G.
Thanks.
Love you, books.
I love you too. And I love you for being a service today and coming on the platform and sharing your experience with us. It's been amazing and beautiful. And I know that our community will get a lot from this chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Over and out, Maddy Hill. Until next time.